Hey guys, Pro1701 here, and today we're going to talk about like motivation, kind of what motivates me to watch Doctor Who. One of my patrons and I were talking the other day, and he was talking about wanting to rewatch some classic Who, but he just wasn't quite feeling motivated every time he tried. He couldn't quite just get himself in the mood for it. Different things motivate me. Like, for instance, the channel, for example, motivates me. You know, again, as much content as I put out for Doctor Who, I like watching stuff because I want to do reviews on it. I like watching it because I might want to talk about a certain companion or a certain doctor, or it's a story I haven't visited in a while. Even regardless of the channel, it might be a story I haven't visited in a while. For example, I think a good thing to do is to rewatch a story you don't like, but maybe that you haven't seen in a long time, or that you've only seen once before, like especially if it's one of the newer ones, like say from Capaldi's run or from Whitaker's run, and you only saw it the one time and you didn't like it. I'd say go back and rewatch it with a fresher set of eyes and see if maybe something about it stands out at you, or maybe just try to figure out why exactly it is you don't like it. Or say a story from Classic Who maybe you haven't watched in a long time. Maybe you haven't seen it in 15 years. Maybe you didn't care for the Dominators. I say give the Dominators a rewatch, because there's some good stuff in the Dominators. Troughton is great in the Dominators, and it makes it watchable. So I like going back and seeing stories that, especially ones I've only seen once, and seeing how my opinion has changed of them. Like, for example, I'm looking forward to the next time I watch Paradise Towers, because I loved Paradise Towers. I saw it for the first time this year, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I'm wondering, when I watch it again, which I may do with the alternate audio, actually, I do want to do that sometime, the original audio, I'm curious to see how my opinion will go up, down, or stay the same on it. Same thing with The Mind Robber. I really like The Mind Robber, so when I rewatch The Mind Robber next, I'm curious to see if I'm going to have the same opinion of it. But it's the same things like stories that aren't good, you know, like, for example, going back and watching Sleep No More. I had only watched Sleep No More when it originally aired, and I hated it. I thought it was awful. But I rewatched Sleep No More recently, just a few months ago, and I thought it was pretty good. It has some really good ideas that aren't executed perfectly. It does have some flaws, but there are a couple really good concepts in it that I really like, and I think it's executed decently. Love the found footage idea. Love the fact that the creature was just asleep in your eye. Those are neat ideas. Doctor Who is great at taking something basic and simple and everyday, like sleep in your eyes, and making it terrifying. That's what Doctor Who does. And they're neat ideas. I don't know if they needed to be in the same story, but I still think the story's a decent watch too, having rewatched it. So it's interesting to rewatch a story, especially when you haven't seen it in a while, because I hadn't seen Sleep No More since it originally aired in 2014, 2015, 2015. And get a, kind of a fresh sense of it, so to speak, because, we change. People change. I'm not the same person I was even 5 years ago. I'm certainly not the same person I was 10 years, 15, 20 years ago. The way I evaluate things is different. So I say, when you're trying to get motivated to watch something, go in with something like, maybe watch a story that you don't like. Maybe your opinion's changed on it. Find a doctor that you like say Pertwee, and then a story maybe that you don't like of his, like maybe The Time Monster, and then give it a watch and see if maybe you like it a little more, or look for the aspects of it you do like. Or by the same token, maybe be a little more critical of a story you love, like, say again, you like Pertwee and you love the Daemons, because the Daemons is a popular story. People love the Daemons. I think that was Pertwee's favorite story that he did, was the Daemons. And then maybe go over and watch it and see if there's anything they could have done better in it. Go over it with a critical eye. Maybe there's a couple things that don't quite work. So it's interesting, because what motivates people to watch the shows they like is going to vary from person to person. Everybody has different and unique thoughts on things. But for me, when I'm picking stuff to rewatch, different things go into it. One is it a story I like or not? Why am I thinking about rewatching it? Am I reevaluating it, or do I just want to see it again? How does it tie in with the channel? Because most of the time, if I do watch something, I'm going to review it. And which Doctor am I in the mood for? Like, for example, say you're not as keen on 80s Who. Go watch some 80s Who. You know, try to find out maybe why you didn't like it, or if you haven't watched it since the 80s, maybe it'll surprise you. Like, if you didn't like Colin Baker's era in the 80s, go back and rewatch it with fresh eyes. You may think differently about it now. It's been 30-something years. So, yeah, it's really hard to explain what I want to get across. I've really tried to run this through my head, and I'm having a bit of trouble, I think, communicating my point. But I think there are all sorts of things that can motivate you to want to watch a show you like, especially like Doctor Who. If you're having trouble, go in with a goal. You know, challenge yourself. Like, for example, I really want to see The Underwater Menace. I know The Underwater Menace is supposed to be terrible. I know its reputation. I've never seen it or heard it or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I really hope that episodes 1 and 4 get animated, because I would really love a special edition where I could watch it. Partially because I love Troughton and I always want to see more Troughton. Partially because half of it survives. 2 episodes survive. And of Troughton's run, he did, I think, 119 episodes, and I think 66 survived and 53 are missing. So just a little over half survived. So the fact that those are 2 stories of Troughton, 2 episodes of Troughton's that survive, I haven't seen yet. I'm looking forward to seeing that, because so much of Troughton is down to his physicality, the physicality of his acting. And just being able to see that on screen is going to be a joy for me. Even if I don't care for The Underwater Menace, when I watch episodes 2 and 3, I'm probably going to be like, Troughton's making this worth it. And, you know, it's going to be things like that. You know, I'm looking forward to getting a chance to actually watch the Time Monster, just because I love Pertwee. I'm looking forward to season 17 coming out so I can watch Nightmare on Eden and Creature from the Pit, because I've never seen them, but they're Tom Baker stories. And I love Tom Baker. And plus, it's Douglas Adams' season, basically, and I love Douglas Adams. So even though these stories don't have the best reputation, I'm very motivated to watch them because I like those doctors. Just like, I need, you know, I've been rewatching the Ice Warriors, because as you saw in the unboxing video, if you watch my unboxing video, I picked up the Ice Warriors. And I've been struggling to rewatch the Ice Warriors, because I'm not a big fan of the Ice Warriors. It's very mediocre. It's not bad, it's just very mediocre. And I actually have 2 videos coming. And the first one is about me trying to rewatch the Ice Warriors, because I'm about halfway through it at the time. And I'm struggling trying to get all the way through it because it's such a slog to get through. It's too long, it's 6 parts. And then I have an actual review later from where I finished it that's gone up. But I actually watched, between watching the Ice Warriors, I watched 2 other things of Doctor Who. Like, I watched the first 3 episodes of the Ice Warriors. Then I watched Infinite Quest, because I'd never seen that all the way through before. And then I watched Dreamland, because I'd never seen Dreamland before at all. And I have reviews coming for those as well. And then I finished watching Ice Warriors. But it was really hard to get through. But what motivated me to rewatch it, despite it being very boring, is one, I did want to see it again, because I'd only watched it once, and that was online on my phone. So I really wanted to see it on a big screen, you know, and I could watch it at the pace I wanted to watch it at, with the, you know, DVD quality looking better than the streaming version I was watching. You know, so I felt I could get a better impression of it. 2, I did want to do a video on it as well. I wanted to do a review on the Ice Warriors, just to see how it stacked up against Seeds of Death, having watched both of them in good quality, and Seeds of Death's a lot better. But I had to push myself to watch that review. I've wanted to go back and rewatch some of Series 11 and Series 12, and I'm going to be honest, I have struggled to try to rewatch Series 11. I did rewatch The Ghost Monument a few months back and got a review out on it, but like, I have literally, because I own Series 11 digitally, I have pulled it up on my TV and looked at the episodes and not been able to rewatch it, just because Series 11 is awful. Because the first episode isn't great, very uninteresting. I don't like, well, Rosa's a good episode, but it bugs me just because I'm from the southern United States, so I already know all about Rosa Parks to the point where it's been hammered in my head. I've heard it 1,000 times, and plus some of the choices they make in Rosa I find very frustrating. It's very stereotypical with how it portrays Southerners, which rubs me the wrong way. And then the whole point of the episode is racism is bad, and I'm like, no kidding, really? Thank goodness Chris Chibnall has this weird thing about some of his episodes where the moral point of the episode is something that's blindingly obvious to most people in the civilized world now. They should have called the episode "Racism is Bad." Yeah, really now. Yeah, thank you, Chris Chibnall. Thank you. Now we know. And then you have, what was the episode after that? Arachnids in the UK, which is just an episode to make fun of Trump. Then you had the Snungum Conundrum, which is just their excuse to do their version of Baby Yoda. Then you have like Demons of the Punjab, which was great the first time I watched it, but I don't know how well it's going to hold up on a rewatch, to be honest. Well, maybe great's too strong a word. It was good the first time I watched it. I don't know how good it's going to hold up on a rewatch. Plus, it's the episode that seemed like it's supposed to be about Yaz, but I find Yaz's grandmother far more interesting than Yaz. Kerblam, I liked. And that's the one I figured I would want to go back and rewatch. I still can't quite motivate myself to rewatch it. The second time I can think of in Doctor Who, and Bubble Wrap's been terrifying. I didn't like the Witchfinders, except for King James. I think King James is great. The guy who plays him is fantastic. But I don't find it interesting enough to rewatch. I didn't like It Takes You Away because I thought it was incredibly stupid. And again, I don't quite get the lesson it's trying to teach there. And then the final episode was a bore, which the end plot of the final episode basically just rips off part of the Pirate Planet, and the Pirate Planet's 1,000 times better. So I can't motivate myself to rewatch it. And I want to do reviews of it. So trust me, if you're stalled, I get it. It happens. But yeah, the channel does help me go back and rewatch stuff that I might not normally. Like whenever I decide to review The Key to Tom, I'm still probably going to skip Power of Crawl. But I'll rewatch Android of Terra for you guys. Because while I find it not that great, I'll still rewatch it. So, yeah, this video has kind of been all over the place, but this one was more for one of my patrons, I think, more than the audience as a whole. But yeah, I'd say go in with a goal. If you're trying to motivate yourself to watch an era of Doctor Who, pick a goal to have in mind. Like, say if you're someone that has only seen the modern series, and you're sick and tired of hearing people complain about maybe Capaldi's era or Moffat's era, or hearing people complain about Whittaker and why she's not a good doctor and yada, 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 yada. Go back and actually watch some classic Who and understand why some people are frustrated with Whittaker and Chibnall's writing, or maybe Moffat's writing. Go back and watch the Pertwee era, because it's the Pertwee era. Yeah, it's so much good going on in it. You have a good doctor, you have good writing, you have good directing. It's such a well-made era. Same thing with like the Hinchcliffe era for Tom Baker. You just have this perfect storm of writing and script editor and producer and directing and actor playing the main character and companions. You can say a lot about the Troughton era as well. And go back and actually look at these characters and understand why people criticize some of the last few seasons of Modern Who the way they do. That's a good motivator to go back and watch some classic Who. So that's my thoughts on that, my very way too long-winded thoughts on that. Again, one of my patrons, and him and I, we communicate a lot on Patreon. Probably my highest contributor, actually, to my patron. Will and I were talking about it, and I kind of just wanted to give a video up kind of talking about my thoughts on it, even though I think I kind of got off task. But that's my thoughts on it. I'd like to know what you think, kind of what motivates you to watch the show, and what you think of the video. So let me know. Other things to do, click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications. I also have a Patreon if you like what I do and would like to contribute to what I do. Access to different tiers there gets you access to, well, different things depending on the tier you pick, if you take a minute and check that out. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.